Hello! Welcome to Anime Mystics. I'm Roman, and tonight I am watching Goblin Slayer Episode 4. So, last episode, we were introduced to the three members of the party that we see in the opening. The High Elf Archer, the Dwarf, and the Lizard Man. They actually came looking for him, Goblin Slayer, to offer him a mission. They explain that a horde of demons are planning on attacking the capital. The Demon King has been resurrected and is planning to take over the world. So has gathered a huge army of demons, and they're going to attack the capital. He doesn't care about any of that. However, they didn't come to ask him to help with that. Instead, they want him to take care of some goblins that are getting a little close to elven lands. They said that, the Lizard Man was explaining it, says that his people, like the representatives for his people, like his elders, the kings of men and the elders for the elves and dwarves are going to have a meeting to discuss what they're going to do about these demons. And these three are the representatives for each race, except for the humans, which is who Goblin Slayer will be representing. And they need them to take care of this goblin infestation. The High Elf Archer explains that they're basically not looked at as equals. So if their army actually went ahead and tried to take care of the goblin problem, everybody else, including the humans, or more likely the humans, would suspect that they were up to something. As soon as he heard goblins, he was in. She tried talking to him about the demons, and he's like, I don't care. All I care about is goblins. And then the Lizard Man's like, well, we got goblins for you. And he's like, oh, okay, I accept that. And then just starts asking his questions. How many are there? How big is the nest? Are there any hobgoblins or shamans? Stuff like that. He gets a map of the place. And without asking, he assumes they're just hiring him for a job, which is basically kind of what they're doing. But they're going with him. He's just like, okay, well, I'll leave immediately. You can decide what you want to pay me. And leaves. While this was going on, the priestess was having a talk with the witch about accompanying the Goblin Slayer. How he has been hunting goblins for years without any real rest. Like he might take a day off. Probably never. Usually the only rest he gets is when he's after a mission, and then the next day he's out looking for more missions, and then he goes again. Her, on the other hand, she is just a porcelain-ranked adventurer. As she said, she's having difficulty just keeping up with him, and in her eyes, she's causing him nothing but problems. And the witch basically tells her, if you're going to be accompanying him, then you should probably make up your own mind, not let other people come up and try to persuade you into leaving him if that's not what you want. Which it's not. She doesn't want to be with anybody else. She wants to accompany him, which is displayed when he comes down, goes to the guild girl and tells her, okay, the Lizard Man's going to explain the quest to you. I need my pay for the last mission. When she gives him the pay, he gives her half and says, give this to her, meaning the priestess. And then he says he's going to go alone because he's going to let her rest. But she runs up saying, oh, you got another quest? And he's all, yep, slaying goblins. And she's like, all right, well, let me get everything ready. And he tells her, no, I'm going to go alone. Which made her really upset. She tells him that he could have at least discussed it with her. But according to him, they were having a discussion. It wasn't just no, you're not going, I'm going by myself. He thought they were going to discuss this. But no, he basically told her, you're not going. So when he told her this is a discussion, she's like, well, I mean, telling the other person what they're going to do, like saying not giving the other person a choice is not a discussion. He didn't get that. He's like, it doesn't. And she basically just tells him, I'm going with you. Which he lets her, He's not going to tell her no. Even though he did earlier, but she wants to go, so he's going to let her go. Then the other three tag along, and then they have they show them interacting around a campfire. You really get to see how little he knows how to interact with other people, because he's by himself all the time. It's only been like a month since he started traveling around with the priestess. And I'm sure when they're together, they hardly talk. I mean, I'm sure she tries to talk to him, and he just gives his one-word answers, or he's too busy explaining to her how to handle goblins, what to look for when tracking goblins and stuff like that. But they have a campfire moment, sharing things from their homeland. Like the elf shares some of their bread, which looks a lot like the bread from Lord of the Rings. The dwarf shares his fire wine, which the elf gets drunk on, I'm assuming after one sip, or maybe two. And Goblin Slayer shares cheese that he brought from the farm, which the lizard man had no idea what cheese was. He says that his people hunt beasts, they don't raise them, so they don't use cows to get milk or make cheese or anything like that. So he had no idea what cheese was. But I think after tasting it, it's his favorite food now. They had a short discussion about where they thought goblins came from. At least three of them gave their ideas on where they came from. Lizard Man said that he's been told that they came from an underground city, or an underground kingdom, I should say. Priestess said that they're told that if you misbehave or make mistakes or something like that, then goblins will come after you. The goblin will be formed and come after you. But explains later that, that's just something that we tell children to keep them in line, so they don't try to misbehave or be bad or anything like that. And the Goblin Slayer says that he was told that they come from the moon, the green moon. That because it is barren and only has rocks, no trees, water, anything like that, that they get envious of what they don't have and come down here. And when I think it was the elf asks where he heard that from, and he says his older sister. Priestess is like, you have an older sister? And he's, he said, I did. And, elf is like, okay, so you believe that goblins come from the moon. His response was basically a jab at Priestess's reason for where goblins come from, which was, if nothing else, he knows that his sister did not make mistakes. Then you see them the next day, right when the sun is coming up, because the goblins should be getting tired around this time. They're going to be drowsy. They're not going to be too alert, because it's about time they go to sleep since they're nocturnal. They show the elf use her bow to kill 2 goblin guards and a wolf that they have with them. And now they're walking into the ruins that they need to go to wipe out this nest, which is where we're going to be picking up from. And I am super excited because I know what's coming up. It's going to be so cool to see all of this happen in anime form. Alright, let's get into the episode. So the video is going to be located over here, and the link to the reaction is going to be in the description down below. Let's see, what volume do I got this at? Turn you up a bit. Not that high. There we go. And we're going to start this episode in